What's up, everyone? Adrian Morrison here. I want to welcome you to the Profit Power Hour, and I'm excited about this training because it is a continuation of something that I believe every Shopify store should be learning and implementing. So, we're going to get into that here in just a little bit. Now, I'm giving everybody a chance to really kind of pop in. We know sometimes it takes people a couple of minutes to load up, go to webinar, and log in to the stream. So we'll be getting started here in just a moment. And I'm beta testing something right now, so we'll see. It's going to be a test for me and a test for you. And that is going to be really trying to minimize, right, the amount of information overload that y'all get on webinars like this and on trainings like this, and stick to something that is very micro oriented, that's easy to implement. So I'm going to explain my process, and we're going to beta test this together and see if it helps you all make more progress in building and launching and optimizing your businesses online. So we're going to get to that very, very shortly. Everybody's kind of like popping in right now. So while that's happening, if you're new to the Profit Power Hour, I want to welcome you. Okay, so I want to welcome you to the Profit Power Hour. On the screen, you should see a couple of links here. These are all partner affiliate links of mine that I've arranged for you to get some special benefits from these companies, and tracks back to me and all of that good stuff, so they know that you're an Adrian Morrison student. So let's start out with link number 1, which is at the top. It is our Shopify free trial link. Now, you can go to any link on Shopify and get a 14-day free trial. It doesn't have to be through my link. So first and foremost, understand that, okay? But there are sometimes some perks in going through the link that you see on the screen right there, profitph.com/Shopify, because I am a Shopify partner, and they give certain things to big communities like ours that you could benefit from. So right now, and still, I don't know when they're going to end it. To be honest, I thought it would be they would end it sooner than now, but I'm just looking at it is still quite active. So if you go to that link, you'll see a picture of me and all that stuff, so you'll know that you're going through the right page. And currently, they're offering your first month to be $1. They did say that will cap out, meaning there's only so many spots available that they're willing to give out for this $1 trial. They do weird beta tests like this all the time themselves. They'll do like $1 for your first month or an extended trial. They're always doing these promotions, I think, trying to see what gets more people to sign up and what gets more people to stick, because Shopify wants you to stick and keep your store. They want you to add products to your store. They want you to generate traffic to your store, right? That benefits Shopify as a business. So if you go through that link on the screen, then you will most certainly be able to take advantage of the best promotion that Shopify has available right now. And then underneath that, and I'm going to get my camera on here real quick. Let's see. Hey, everybody, camera's on now. You should all be able to see me. Okay. Got dark brown hair now. I got tired of the gray stripe going through here. So now I'm feeling youthful. I'm feeling youthful this week. So the recommended vendors, this is something that is important for everyone. There are a lot of vendors. You have a lot of options with your drop shipping business. These are the 4 vendors that we're focusing on right now and that we're recommending right now. So my number 1 pick is Pillow Profits. That's the little blue shoe there, amsecretlink.com/profits. And that vendor is a drop shipper that plugs right into your store. They're a US based company. They have boots on the ground in China. I've worked with them for many years. I'm great friends with the founder, and he started out as an e-commerce seller himself. So I love working with companies that were actually, created from a founder that is in the business, that knows what real drop shippers want, need, the struggles, the hurdles that they can help us overcome. Then you got Shine On Jewelry at profitph.com/shine. Great app, US company, US shippers, fast shipping. They do custom jewelry. They're out in, I think, Boca Raton, St. Pete. Then you got Zendrop. I'm invested in this company, and they're phenomenal. Again, started from a drop shipper for drop shippers. And then CJ Dropshipping, which is just a massive, massive company, it seems, which we've been going over the last couple of weeks. Plugs right into Shopify, US vendors, China vendors, and vendors in other countries, actually. So these are the four. These are all my partner and affiliate links with these companies. So I've been able to arrange deals with some of them that give you some special goodies, or it could be a discount here and there, like I did with Zendrop. So that said, go to those links, or don't. You can use completely different vendors if you so choose. All right. So this would be an example of a more micro-oriented approach, rather than having a gazillion links on the screen like I usually do. I just want you to focus on what I think is important right now. And what's important right now is finding a vendor, a dropship vendor, that has products that get delivered quickly, or high quality products, and that you like to work with, right? That you can systemize in your business and work with. If you have like 80 vendors, it becomes a nightmare. So we don't want to do that. I try to limit the amount of vendors, but have multiple options. So I have backups, and we did a whole training on that a couple weeks ago about my multi-vendor strategy. So anyways, these are my personal recommendations, right? So at this point, I want to tell everybody just to go to the Facebook group. If you're in our Facebook group, it's facebook.com/group/profitph, and tell everybody to get their butts on the free training. Okay, it's free. We're going to be going over something important tonight that I think is beneficial for you all to know. These are not, sales webinars. There's no, there's no hidden agenda here, other than just showing you training that we believe could benefit anybody that truly wants to run an e-commerce store online, where you learn from my mistakes, you learn from, the education that I get, be it, self-taught through losses and making mistakes, or, investing in other masterminds that I'm a part of, and networking with other big marketers. I try to trickle down as much of the meat and potatoes as possible that I can give you. So everybody to hop on the webinar. We got a great training for you tonight. Okay. Now, while we're doing that, let's talk about this this new approach that I want to take as we move in to the webinar. Okay. So I love to teach bird's eye view. I love teaching a bird's eye view because I think it is important for you, or for anyone, to kind of understand, the bird's eye view of any business model from A to Z, how it works, why it works, and all that stuff. I don't think that you need to have a micro understanding of every single little piece of the puzzle. And I always use the analogy of a car. So the analogy of a car goes something like this. It's pretty simple. So we know that to drive a car, right, we have to first open the door, sit down, grab the steering wheel, start the engine, and press the gas, right? Put in drive, press the gas. And we don't understand how the engine was built, how fuel gets to the engine, how the air intake works, and how the shocks system works on a car. We don't understand all of that stuff. We don't have to in order to operate the car. Now, if we were an expert, NASCAR or Formula One racer, we might want a bit more knowledge of how a vehicle performs and works, as that could be beneficial to us building a car optimized for a racetrack or short races, long races, so on and so forth. So what I want to do is I want to show you the macro view, the large bird's eye view of something, and then I want to jump into the micros, meaning just let's learn this specific important part here that you actually really do need to know. And then let's learn this one and this one. Because if I give you the macro and I send you off with it, you're going to be like, oh, I got this, and this. And that's not really going to work for most people. So like what we started doing is last week, we started looking at the macro view of how a drop shipping store works at the most basic level, okay? Like super basic. And what I want to do is I want to start trying to condense these webinars down from an hour and 10 to hour and 15 minutes, which I think, and for me, it's no big deal. But I think that the mind starts to stop with consumption 30 to 40 minutes in. I can't get this down to 30 minutes. It's impossible. I just don't think I can do it. I can't. So I'm going to try to test myself getting these done in 45 to 50 minutes and being very direct with what I teach. So you have a plan that you can truly execute after these webinars. If that sounds good, go ahead and type in the question answer box. Sounds good. Okay, so go ahead and type that in so I can go back and check all that. And I'm going to try not to keep you here forever, which I tend to do. So last week, we went over this right here, the basic funnel that Shopify stores use. And then we started adding in some of these optimizations. So right now, what we are looking at is kind of like it's the macro view, okay? So right now we're looking at the macro, all right? And once we get done going over the macro, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start looking at the micro, all right? And you can see as I've circled these, there is this area between micro and macro. I'm gonna fill it in here, okay? This area. This is really what you need to know is where these overlap, where micro and macro overlap. That's the part that you need to know. You don't need to know all of the micro, okay? You don't need to know all of that, all right? And you don't even need to know all of the macro, okay? You don't need to major in the minors, right? In other words, you don't need to worry yourself with stuff that doesn't really matter when it comes to starting, running, and optimizing your business. You got to really focus on what is that sweet spot, right? Where I'm diving into the important stuff, but I also have a fundamental picture of the business, okay? So if I'm building a house, right, and I own a construction company, I've launched a construction company, and I hire subcontractors, framers, all that good stuff. Like, I need to know how a house is built. Would you agree? If I'm going to run a building company and build houses, I need to understand the macro of how you build a house, from doing the dirt work to laying the foundation to framing the house to all the other stuff, the plumbing, all that. All right, I need to do the macros of that. But what I don't need to know in the micro side of things is I don't need to know how to hammer a nail perfectly, all right, in a more optimized fashion. Um, I don't have to know a lot of things that are micro-oriented about building a house, right? I can have people for that, and I hire people for that. So that's what you're going to do in your business. You can hire people to worry with the super micro-oriented stuff, virtual assistants, whatever. And you want to kind of stay in this in-between area because this is where you know enough of each to really operate at a high level. So what we're looking at here is the bird's eye view, the macro view. All right, let me just go over it real quick because I think I spend a lot of time each week regurgitating what I did the week before. The reason I do that is I'm quite self-conscious of new people getting on this webinar being like, whoa, 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 what's this drawing? What the heck? And so I try to be mindful of that. So here's the basic funnel an e-commerce business runs. And what we're about to do is start looking at that micro, all right, part of it, where we can look at how can we make this a better optimized business that could probably, you know, do more for us. So first off, there are various traffic sources that we're going to use to get ads to our store. So we've got, you know, we've got Facebook, we've got TikTok, we've got YouTube, and we've got Instagram. Heck, we've even got Google Shopping, okay? So your business cannot really operate. You can't expect, you know, any type of, you know, success if you don't have traffic. It's just it's like an abandoned house if you don't have traffic. Now, in order to get traffic, you got to write an ad for your product and you got to target, you know, prospects. So that's what's going on here. Now, ads cost money, okay? So ads cost money. They're cheap ads, they're expensive ads, they're premium ads, right? That you'll pay more for. So ads cost money. And the goal for your business should be definitely to spend money, right, on traffic. Invest in traffic. All businesses have to invest in traffic. Even brick and mortar businesses, they put out ads in local newspapers and magazines and their own social media. Okay, so it's okay to invest in traffic, but what you want to do is you want to create a funnel that allows you to get more out of that traffic and take that visitor that you paid for that saw your ad and put them onto your list, your email list that you own, and start eventually over time, unless you're growing, of course, eliminating how much you have to spend to get traffic to your store. Now, how do you eliminate not all, but some of your ad expenses? How do you do that? Well, you have an optimized funnel like this, what I've drawn here, that's designed to get that traffic that we see here down into an email list. Because when you have an email list, you can send emails. Emails don't cost any money. You just have to pay, like, you know, whatever the fee is for the month for MailChimp or Klaviyo or GetResponse or Aweber or whatever the email platform is. They have typically a monthly fee, like a bulk fee. And then you can send as many emails as you want within reason. So our goal is not to have to get that traffic that doesn't buy anything and pay for it again and again and again, right? So follow the red arrow here, okay? So this red arrow, all right? A lot of times you get people, they see your ad, they see your ad, they go to your store and they say, but then they see your ad again and they go to your store and, I don't think so. And then they see your ad again and they go, nope, 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 not this time. Then they see your ad a fourth time. And you know what? Now's the time. I'm ready. And they start going through the rest of the funnel, right? They had to get to you 4 times before they ever added a product to the cart and started, thinking about making a purchase. Does that make sense? How many of y'all have done that before, by the way? You've seen an ad, clicked it, didn't buy anything. Seen it again, clicked it again, didn't buy anything. Seen it again, clicked it, added stuff to the cart, but didn't follow through. And then finally, like a month later, you're like, I need to go ahead and buy that thing. I've been putting it off. I want it. Let's get it. All right. How many of you have done that before? Yeah. Well, see, the problem with this, and I know this is ugly, I'll make it pretty again. Don't worry. The problem with this is that every time you do this, these blue lines, every time you get that visitor to your store, it's costing you money. And it's the same person. It's the same person. You're just paying over and over and over and over and over to get that same person back to your store. And it's annoying. Can't they just quit being decisive, right? Come on. That's just the name of the game. That's the nature of the business. Before they get up here and they start making potential, buying decisions on that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th round. So what I call this is the necessary evil cycle of ad spend. Okay? It's the evil cycle of ad spend. And the reason it's evil is because you're paying for the same viewer over and over and over and over and over again. It's like renting. When you rent a house, let's say you rent a house for 10 years, okay? And the 10th year or whatever, you finally decide you're going to move out, you're going to buy your own home, okay? You're going to go, it's time to buy your own home. There's nothing wrong with renting, right? Your house. A lot of people do it. So I'm not saying that's bad. What I am saying, however, is that when it's all said and done and you look back and you add up all the money you've spent, it serves no future purpose for you. The money that you spent on the rent does not benefit you at all in the future. You can't reuse it. It's done. You paid for a rented service. You don't get to keep it. So when you go to buy a house, all that money that you invested in rent doesn't go toward the house that you're buying. It's almost as if that never happened. Okay? Make sense? Well, traffic is the same way, in that Facebook is going to keep charging you every time a visitor, and Instagram and YouTube, they're going to every time a visitor clicks on your ad, they're not going to say, oh, this same person clicked their ad before, so we're going to let this one go slide by for free. No, they're going to charge. Okay? So your goal is to start investing in an asset that brings true value long term to your business. And there are things that you can do to your store that help with that process and ensure in the future you have the best possible outcome, right? So we're not going to go through this evil cycle of ad spend for no reason. Now, it's going to happen, and it is a necessary evil, okay? It's a necessary evil. But what we want to do is extract from that as much long-term value as possible. So as people are going to our sales page on our e-commerce store and adding a product to the cart, and there are people going to drop off. They're going to drop off every way you look at it. You're going to have people get to your sales page and they're going to drop off, okay? You're going to have people add products to the shopping cart, and guess what they're going to do? They're going to drop off, meaning they're not going to buy. You're going to have people get to the order form. They got all the way here, and they're going to be like, no, I'm not going to do that. The dog barked and I have to get up, or whatever. All right, my baby cried. And they're going to drop off, and you're losing, right, that potential customer through each step. It's going to happen, all right? So what you want to do is when you paid to get them there, right? What you want to do is once you pay to get them there, I don't think that you should totally be focused on the potential sale when you get them to your store. I think that your focus out of the gate should be, how do I get them on my email list? Because when you get them on your email list, you get out of that loop of spend money to generate traffic from the same customer over and over and over and over again. When they're on your email list, you just send emails and people open them with the intent, right? As they're interested in your product or service. So yeah, of course we want to focus on customer acquisition, but we also really and truly want to prioritize lead acquisition, getting people on our email list. So what can we do on our sales page? What can we do on our sales page to get people that are falling off to not fall off, but rather get on our email list? What can we do on the cart page when people fall off, not to fall off completely, but also get them on our email list? All right. And automatically, by default, if they fill out the order form, okay, if they fill out the order form and they hit next, okay, they haven't bought yet, they got to confirm shipping prices, all that stuff. Shopify is automatically going to put them on your email list. But there are three other parts. No, wait, I'm sorry, two other parts. I had, yeah, there are two other parts of this process or spaces on your site that you could focus on getting people to your email list. So this would be the macro view, okay? Hey, you need to get people on your email list. The micro view would be right here on your sales page. What do I do to get people on my email list? All right, on the cart page, what do I do to get people here on my email list? How do I get them to get on my email list so if they don't buy, which a large, massive percentage of people that get there will not buy, how do I get them on my list so I don't pay for them in the future with Facebook? I can get them back without having to run ads. Because let me tell you what's cool. What's cool is to be able to send out an email to hundreds of thousands of targeted prospects without worrying about designing a super creative ad and spending money on that ad hoping that it generates a return, right? Ads are always necessary, but what we want to do is we want to build up something that allows us to not solely depend on ads all of the time, okay? But that's not all, y'all, okay? There are a lot of things here as we talk about optimizing our store to also enhance, right, your customer's average order value, or enhance, you know, the conversion rate that takes place when a customer or prospect hits your store. How do you increase the conversion rate of getting them to add products to their shopping cart? How do you increase the conversion rate of when they add their cart, actually get them to go to the order form and see that order through, right? You know, how do we increase the CVR? That's what it's called, CVR. All right, so first off, I want to say this. Nothing in life is guaranteed, right? Strategies exist you know, to with the hope and idea based off of data that help you increase your odds of something, right? Or doing it the right way or the best way possible. But you know, different stores are going to have products at different prices, going to have different types of customers coming in based off of the ad that was written. And so just because a strategy works for one person doesn't mean you're going to see the exact same results as that person. So someone might be able to increase their conversion rate by say 10%. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm so used to dollar cents. Maybe they have a 10% increase, right, from 3%. That's huge. Like that's not typical. That's not going to happen. Okay, I'm just making these numbers up. All right, but to 10% using a strategy that you can implement on a store. All right, just because it happened to that store doesn't mean that it's going to happen to your store. Okay, so don't get hung up on hypotheticals and theories. Just understand that it's in your best interest to optimize your store to get the most opportunity out of your business as possible, whatever that may be. Does that make sense? Because I see a lot of people, they're like, well, so-and-so's got a 6% conversion rate. Why is mine 4.2? Well, because that person runs a different business. They have a different store. They sell different products. They do different promotions. They have different ads. They're targeting different customers, right? They may have more repeat customers rather than cold traffic, so on and so forth. So as I go through this, I'm going to be using hypothetical numbers for like conversion rates and stuff like that. So just don't get stuck to them, okay? And what I want to do is I want to, you know, focus on how do we get people on our email list, and what are things that we could do to increase the conversion rates of the steps of this funnel, getting people through each of these steps where we know each of these steps people are going to fall off. Okay, matter of fact, you could have tons of people go to your store and not a single one of them will buy. They'll fall off at the order form, you know? So it's just, what can we do to make it better? Does that make sense? I know I got lots of arrows and everything going everywhere. Well, the one thing that we do know is that our best chance at running like a long-term and building a long-term asset is this darn email list right there. That's one thing that is for certain, okay? Now, what are some of the things that we could do to increase conversion rates? Sorry, I don't know why Dropbox decided it was just going to open up. What are some of the things that we could do to increase conversion rates on these steps throughout our funnel to get customers to go further and further? All right. So herein lies my macro micro beta test. I'm going to draw out some of the things that I've tested that I on my store have worked and that I've researched and seen work for other stores and have gotten them, you know, some great, you know, findings and results. And I'm going to draw them out for you and give you that bird's eye macro view. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to zoom in to each one and we're going to go over what it is and how to implement it. Okay. So tonight we're finalizing a bit of the macro and what our goals are. First, last week we drew out the funnel. Here's the funnel. Okay. This week we're starting to look at what do we want to do at this funnel? Like, where are the points where we really want to focus? You know, and some of those points are, we want to focus here, we want to focus here, right? We want to focus here all, basically getting people to our email list. So that's one of the big points. We also want to focus up here and try to figure out, okay, when we get somebody to our store, how do we get them to add more people to add a product to the cart? And when we get people in the cart, how do we get more people to see it through and go to the order form? When they get to the order form, how do we get more people to put in their information and follow through with an order? And that's all of this happens after the traffic. So let me just put a dotted line here. Okay. All of this stuff that we're talking about here, it happens after the traffic. So what does that mean? That means that the next couple of trainings, I'm not going to be focusing on, how to write an ad, how to find targeted prospects on Facebook. All right. What I want to do is I want to focus on everything that happens after you get somebody on your Shopify store. Because someone once told me, it's easy, it's so easy to get a customer to come into your business for the first time. The hard part is getting them to come back. It's getting them to come back that second time, that third time, that fourth time, and to become a repeat customer. And what we really want to focus on here as we dive into this series of training is, what are the things that we can do to help convert them to each next step? What are the things that we could do to make them want to become a repeat customer to shop on our store and get them to open up our emails and get on our email list? And the great thing is, what I love about Shopify, and make no mistake, it's a business model for Shopify, okay? It's a brilliant business model. But we can use apps. So we can use Shopify apps. Okay. Now, there are a couple of problems with Shopify apps, okay? So problem number one is you can do too many apps. So they're just, I would say that a lot of people can get app overload, and they can end up spending hundreds of dollars per month on apps, okay, that could be avoided. Now, be prepared to invest in apps for your store, but you get into the Shopify app store and you see all these epic cool things, and what will happen is you'll just install a bunch of stuff on your store and you'll never get into the micro on those. So you'll see the macro, the whole macro. This app does all of this epic stuff. This app has got to have this app on my store. It's going to make my store so epic, okay? But you never get into the micro of actually implementing the things that that app does that make it so great. You install it. You just know the macro, the bird's eye view of what this should do. But you avoid the micro. Why? Why would you do that? Well, it's because you done seen the macro. Sorry, there's another little gnat around me, of another app and 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 another app. And how on earth are you going, man, this gnat's killing me. How on earth are you going to focus on the micro of a gazillion apps? You can't. So they'll sit on your store and do nothing. As a matter of fact, something to note is the apps can, just as much as they can supercharge your store, they can slow down your store. They can also break if you don't monitor them, which isn't good. An app breaks. And they break. I've built a lot of apps. Let me tell you, they break. So you got to be watching them, got to have a dev team on them, yada, yada, which fortunately I do. But they still break. We have to fix. Like, that's just a part of the business, you know? So Shopify apps, I want to start out by saying some of the negatives, and that is you can get app overload. Too many apps can slow down your store. But on the flip side, Shopify apps are great. Just coming in with number one here, because what they can do is they can automate processes that would be a nightmare otherwise. Number two, having the right apps on your store can also optimize processes. Now, when I say optimize, what do I mean? I mean, when you optimize something, you get more out of it. You get more from it, okay? So right now, I'm optimizing my health. And if you've been following me for the past couple of years, you'll see I look like I went from 165 pounds of unhealthy to 140 pounds of lean healthy to now 170 pounds of very healthy muscle instead of, instead of unhealthy. Okay. So, but in doing that, I am actually using apps, AKA supplements, right? I'm using creatine, I'm using pre-workout, using vitamins, right? I've gotten blood work done so I can figure out where my nutrient deficiencies, and I've gotten information. I've looked at the micro of my body so I can maximize it and I can optimize it. I'm still in the process of doing that, right now. Like, I'm looking at every little detail that matters. I'm not looking at all of the details. I'm looking at the details that matter, that in between. And I'm optimizing my health. So I want to automate as much as possible. I want to optimize as much as possible, but I also want to stay lean. Okay, so we want to stay lean. Stay lean, okay? Because more apps equal more problems. So when I first got started with this, I had like a gazillion apps on my Shopify store. And, there are a lot of great apps out there, but I realized that a lot of them weren't built. They were kind of built to leave things missing. So you would have to install another and another, or I'd go to this company and that company. I ended up building all of my own apps, as you all know. I build my own apps. Are they perfect? No. There's always something with each and every app ever out there that has to be fixed and upgraded, and it's a nightmare, okay? Which is why a lot of people don't develop and build it. And as a Shopify store owner, I just got fed up with it, and I did the research. I hired a team, and we built different apps that could take care of the things that I felt were needed, right? And then I have a lot of apps that I just download from the Shopify App Store that are great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all of these pages and the things that you can do with free apps. Then there are some apps that are optional, that are paid, and show you how to get them on your store to optimize things and automate things and make sure that you've got like a tweaked out store. All right, so that's going to be the goal moving forward. All right, is focus on this page, focus on this page, focus on this page. And what are the things we can do? Because listen, I have not even yet gotten into the nitty gritty, because look, it's 2022, okay? Email marketing, in my opinion, number one. It's the number one asset that a marketing company could have, is an email list. Screw a fan page, screw an Instagram page, or TikTok, all that crap. You want to know why? Because you don't own it, right? If you got a big fan page, that's great. Good old Zuck could hit one button and your fan page is gone. All right. All that hard work, no reason. I know multiple e-commerce stores. Listen to this very, 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 very closely. I know multiple e-commerce stores, and I've seen it, that have massive fan pages. They didn't focus on email. They focused on building a big fan page and a big social presence. And then Facebook wiped out their fan page. No reason. Happened to me too. I had this huge fan page I built up for 5 years in a niche. It wasn't a political niche. It wasn't a religious niche. It was just a basic fan page and a basic niche. And one day I logged into that fan page, and Facebook had locked it. They locked it and said, yeah, you got to verify your country because this is a large fan page with a lot of potential reach. So, okay, logged on my phone, verified them in the United States, and I thought I was all good. Like a month later, I kid you not, I log in and the fan page was completely deleted, obliterated, gone, nothing was there. I never talked about it on this webinar because I was so ticked off that I was worried about what I might say while I'm live talking about how freaking stupid that was. So I was fortunate in that my mentor always taught me that an email list is the most valuable asset that you could have online because you own it, okay? Zuck can take your Instagram page away, your fan page away. TikTok can ban your TikTok page. Whoever the dude is that on Snapchat could ban that if he so desires. Twitter could ban your Twitter page. You see that happen all the time. You can't tweet anything without getting banned, right? So it's like I've seen these businesses, some smart, some just I wouldn't say not smart, but they weren't prepared, and they went all in on the social media pages, and in seeing that, what I've discovered is that I really want this year to lean in. I want to lean in on showing you list building and a couple of other things. So some of the other things that we could focus on here also will be SMS, but you have to be very, very careful with SMS, as there are a lot of rules and regulations with text messaging. So you also can build a SMS, which stands for text message, an SMS list, and you can also build a Facebook bot list. Okay. Now this was right here at one point. Whew, I mean, just if you were doing this when it first came out, game changer. But now, like I said, you don't own that. If it goes through Facebook, you're going with all their rules, regulations. Now you can't just freely send promotions to your Facebook Messenger list. There's a lot, they ban, like literally, Facebook will ban you from your fan page from sending messages and broadcasts if they don't like how often you send your messages. There's no real clear guidelines on what to do or not to do. You know how Facebook is. They're going to say, we're going to judge you when you show up, but we're not going to tell you how to dress. We're just going to tell you if we don't like it. And we won't even tell you what we don't like. We're just going to give you a generic explanation, right? Y'all know that, okay? But it's still a good thing to have. SMS, there are a lot of regulations that come with SMS marketing. And so while you own the data, getting the data into a provider, right, into a service that will manage that data and send those texts for you can be challenging, right, if you're moving your data from one place to another. But an email list is so basic. You can move this, over to, Aweber. You can move it to MailChimp. Shopify has Shopify Mail, which is really great. Okay. You can move it to GetResponse. You can move it to Klaviyo, however you pronounce that. It's kind of endless, right? There's a lot of places you can put an email list. So that's why I wanted to spend more time on this webinar. Is I want to explain to you tonight the macro, right? And then we're going to focus on that center piece in the micro too. We want to know what our objectives are, which is to build a list. Like I know this one huge e-commerce company, and it was so brilliant. It was run by a veteran, and it sells political style apparel, and they're just a cool company, and they sold anything and everything. So it didn't appear as if they were leaning one way or the other. It was just like, hey, you can profit off of political views. It is, essentially, I think what the model was. And, it was really, really, really creative, and they blew up. And then Facebook just like banned their page one day. They had like over 1 million followers. They just banned it. Done. One and done. I'm not sure if they got it back or they started another one. I followed it for quite some time, but it was so long I just gave up watching the process. And so I'm not saying this to scare you, right? I'm saying it to prepare you, so you know where your focus should be in building your business. Okay, so many arrows going to an email list. So I'm not saying that your fan page is going to get banned. All right, I had a massive fan page, and they saw it as a high risk because it could reach a lot of people, and um, you know, and I had virtual assistants operating it with me, with whom are in the Philippines. And so they flagged it, and they're like, okay, what is this company in what are these people in the Philippines doing operating a US based fan page? But Facebook should know that businesses have VAs, right? Kind of silly. And it happens to a lot of people. So it happened to me. It's okay. I'm smart, and I know how to, I was prepared. Still sucks. It's like putting a smoke detector in your house. Not saying that your house is going to burn down, but at least have a smoke detector in there. You know what I'm saying? So what we want to do is we want to focus on mainly this. How do we make this happen? But also in the mix, how do we get these conversion rates up from getting someone to our sales page to add products to the cart? And what can we do on the cart page to get them to be more likely to go to the order form? And from the order form to actually make a purchase? And what can you do on the purchase page to get people on, to get people back to your store, which is something else I haven't talked to about. But once somebody gets on our purchase page where they have actually purchased a product, what can we do to get them to come back to our store and double up? That would be another great strategy that we use. And we're going to use mostly Shopify apps to do this. All right, but the goal is going to be, how do we avoid app overload? How do we avoid slowing down our store with a bunch of apps we don't need? And what are the best ones to automate processes and optimize our processes Most of you in here have, like, you know, a lot of the Shopify apps I use and I've built and I recommend. But I don't know if I've ever really drawn out for you the whole model of the macro of why everything plugs in. So we're going to do that. You'll have a map of where I think everything should be and any new things that we found that we're adding in. Like, for example, on your sales page, there's a whole nother section that a simple little Shopify app can add to your store. And a lot of you have it, a lot of you don't, but I can't really draw another section right here, but there, maybe I can. There's a whole nother section down here that will automate reviews. And guess what reviews do? Reviews can help increase conversion rates. When people see social proof about something, they're more likely to go to the next step and potentially add it to their cart. Does that make sense? There's an app that will do that. There's an app that legit will go find reviews on a dropship product that you're selling and add them to your store so people can get a really good idea of, you know, other people's opinions of this product. And it's automated. I didn't build the app. I don't need to build it. It exists. I only built apps that I needed that solved problems that existed that no app was taking care of at the time. So I'm going to share some of that with you. And then when it comes to your sales page in general, you know, Shopify gives you a template like page. You can, you can't modify much. But there are apps that you can plug into your Shopify store that will let you drag and drop and really build a very optimized sales page that gets everything right where you want it and right where you need it. So we'll go over that. As a matter of fact, I'll actually have some completely free pages built for you with that app. Now, the app costs money. I'll have some free pages designed for you when we get there. Okay, when we get there. And I'm not going to build them. I'll get them to build them. So yeah, if you're new and you're looking at this, you're like, this is bonkers. But again, that's only if you're only focused on the macro. Anytime you focus on the macro view only of something, of an entire business model, it hurts. Hurts your brain. Anytime you only focus on the micro, micro can go deep. It's painful. It's very painful. So what I want to do, again, is the middle area. I want you to get that overlap where you get the important macro and the important micro when it comes to running a business. So I'm pretty sure right now, at this point in the training, which I told you I was going to try to keep to 45 minutes and is now 58 minutes, I'd be willing to bet, especially if you're new, this would be a good assessment of how your brain feels right now, okay? So here's your brain. I think there's like a little stem at the back of a brain. Kind of looks like Florida, honestly. But this is your brain, okay? And this is probably what your brain feels like about now, okay? Because tonight what we've done is we have only focused on the macro. We've talked about how we're going to talk about the micro, but really what we've done here is we've talked about macro, all right? How many of you in here would agree that your brain feels a little bit like this picture that I am now drawing on the screen? Let's just add some rainbow in there, okay? We'll get the rainbow up in here, okay? And this is macro, all right? So what we're gonna do next week is we are going to break things down, and your brain isn't going to feel like this. Your brain is gonna be very focused on one thing and implementing that one thing. And then we'll move to the next and to the next. But a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people look at this bird's eye view right here. They're like, oh my God, I've got to do this today and this today and this today. And then I've got to come down here and I've got to do this and this and this and this. And you end up getting like 20% of everything done. And then you just got a broken model, right? So you can't build this perfectly in a day. Now you can launch a Shopify store in a day with products on it ready to go, but it's not going to be at peak level, at peak optimization. So it's okay though if it's not. It's perfectly fine if it's not. Everybody's got to start at step number one. What you don't want to do is get caught up doing a bunch of stuff that's not right and a bunch of stuff that's not going to work, putting a bunch of stuff on your store that's going to overload it, slow it down, cost you a bunch of money that's unnecessary to spend, and break your store, right? That's what most people do, and that's why most people fail, and that's why most people give up, is they get information overload. They try to get a bunch of apps on their store thinking apps are the key to success, which they're not, because without traffic and good products, it don't matter what apps you got on your store, okay? And they end up, just giving up. It's those that are able to see the full picture, but then bullseye laser focus on this step. The very first thing that happens when somebody hits your store is they hit the sales page. So why the heck are you worried about what's on the order form? What can you do to optimize your order form when you got a crappy sales page? If you got a crappy sales page, ain't nobody getting to the order form. If you got a crappy sales page, ain't nobody getting to the shopping cart, right? Make sense? And once you tweak this bad boy out, you focus on this. Now we're getting more people to add products to the shopping cart. So what can we do on our shopping cart page to get more people that get to this point to get on our email list, our SMS list, our Facebook list, to add more products to their shopping cart to increase their potential average order value, so on and so forth. You focus on each one. If you're sitting here thinking about what can I do on the thank you page to optimize the thank you page to get a customer once they buy to come back and do again and buy again, but you don't even got a customer, what are you doing? Why are you worried about something that's not even likely to happen today or tomorrow? If you got a bunch of crappy sales pages and cart pages and all that stuff, it don't matter how epic you make the thank you page, if you're not getting customers, they're never going to see any of those optimizations, right? So that's the point that I wanted to make. I hope that I made it clear. And again, if you're new and your brain feels like this, it's all good, because I'm going to demystify it. We're going to focus on one thing at a time together, and I'm going to simplify it for you. And I'm going to show you the things that you can do on each of these pages that don't require tech skills, that don't require too much effort, that anybody can implement. And we're going to show you how to do each one. And then we get to do it together. And they're not required. You don't have to do these things, right? You got a Shopify store, you got a sales page, you can use that. Just like when you buy a car, you don't have to soup up the engine or put better exhaust on it, or when you go to Ford.com, you don't have to add all the options on the car to make the car work, right? You don't have to have all of that, the heated seats in the back, right? Whoever's sitting in the back, when it's cold outside, tell them bring an extra jacket. All right, so don't feel like you must do all of this right away. Take it one step at a time, and that's what we're going to do over the next couple of weeks. Is we're going to focus on this model and I'm going to be recommending to you some of the apps that you can install on your store that will take care of that one micro instance that we're looking at. And some of these apps are free, some of them are $5, $10. Some of them I own, so you'll see some of the apps that I own that you probably already have that my company developed. You can see if those fit into the model, and you can pick and choose what you want to do, but we're not going to do it all at once. What we're going to do is we're going to set things up one at a time to make sure that you have a fully optimized, based off of what I think is optimized, a fully optimized Shopify store. Okay, all right. So I know a lot of you are asking for these notes. They'll be on the replay page. So open up your emails. Okay, check your spam folder in case my daily newsletter is hitting your spam folder, or your whatever filters in Gmail could go into the promotions folder or whatever. Check it. You'll get a PDF download of this, and you're going to see how I take this and we focus on one thing at a time. And I think you're going to feel like, even if you're a noob, you're going to feel like you're catching on with everything that I say on each webinar, and it's clicking, and you're going to have aha moments, and you're going to see the light bulbs, because we're going to do it slowly, one step at a time. Okay. All right. So that's it for tonight. I still managed to go an hour and a half. I have some work to do. If I want to make these 45 to 50 minutes for you to get you the info, I'm going to have to figure out how to shut my mouth. But if it's important, I want to keep talking. So again, sending love to you all. I wish you all a ton of success this week. I hope that you have a phenomenal week, and make sure that you are here next week, same place, same time, on the Profit Power Hour, 9 p.m. EST, and your boy's going to be here with another free training. All right, so I'll see you next week. Check your email, because I'm going to send out this in PDF format, completely free. You can download it, you can keep it. You have this macro view to remind you, that you got to focus on the sweet spot, not just the macro or the micro. All right, that's it. I'll see you all next week. Good night, y'all.